Welcome to session 7 of StarFinder, the Fragments of Eternity. We are on chapter 2, finally. Our players are level 2. They all have wonderful new things. I'm Ryan, the GM. It's the 12th of November 2018, for those who care, and other things. So, here are the players.
Hey, I'm Nico. I'm playing Zora, the Vest Captain of the ship.
I'm Alex. I play Nix 5, the android mechanic.
I'm Colin. I'm playing Lyko, the spooky bounty hunter.
And I'm Calum, and I will be playing Zigg. I didn't realise I was muted there. Due to my inability to tell the time, I almost didn't play today.
And hashtag Calum's Precious. Smash that like button!
Ring the bell.
Ring the bell.
And hello, Nick. When you finally get here, your journey is completed. Yeah, so,
Welcome.
who remembers what happened last week?
So,
Previously on this game.
well, loads of spooky goes and not goings on happened in Cocoon Room.
That you may or may not know about, depending on the chats.
Yeah, my character may or may not know about quite yet. What happened on the station actually after that? Oh yeah, there was the ooze, assembly goo.
Mm-hmm.
What is it actually called?
The assembly ooze.
The assembly ooze. Okay, right. I
Or
was
the
right.
assembly cube, or the assembly gel.
Yep.
Or the...
Yes, the assembly ooze. Right, it's just
Ensemblage cubage.
Was it gone on with the assembly ooze? Decided to take the ooze. Yeah, that's about it. We got back to Absalom Station.
Sure. Absalom Station.
Yes.
I actually moved the spaceship on the map, so it was actually not where it
We
was.
met Zigg.
Oh, so you did?
And you did. You met Zigg indeed.
Yes.
Now we are confronting Mr. Edgar.
Confronting yourself.
Yeah, that's a really...
Oh.
Well, it's a very Vesk way of putting it, isn't it? We are invited to a confrontation with Mr. Westland. Zigg reading his emails. It actually says you're cordially invited to a quiet, brief, friendly chat. So good. Okay, yeah. And I believe we faded out with Mr. Westland, like, going into his suit jacket, lifting out a little black case. He opens it up, pulls out a kind of black cigarette, takes a draw on it, blue LED lights up, and then he just kind of exhales a bunch of vapour as we faded to black. Meanwhile, elsewhere, the cinematic that I forgot to put at the end of the last game is this. So we fade out on Absalom Station. Camera pulls its way back and does that kind of speeding up as it goes further away from the sun and all the planets fly past it. And then all of a sudden it goes black. And then there's a crackle of energy in the black. And then like a fizzing and a very harsh, like kind of popping, thudding kind of sound. And we do the kind of camera pan up from like almost, it looks like maybe like a moon, kind of that greyish white dust, and like kind of 2 feet that we see, kind of almost, I don't want to use the term corpse-like because they're not, but like kind of like emaciated feet that we see, and we're starting to pan up from the ground with the kind of energy crackling around the body and like purple electrical tendons like crawling along the ground, and runes slowly dissipating in the air. Camera pans up, and as the camera pans up, you see like some of the electricity that's kind of flowing around the figure starts to form kind of very kind of ceremonial looking robes, very detailed and decorative robes, and it pans up, and we see as it kind of like slowly pans round behind the figure, and it's looking out onto what looks like a dead planet. And then all of a sudden there's a big column of fire that erupts in front of them. But we're still got the view from behind over their shoulders. And then they're all silhouetted in black as this big column of like lava spews up in the sky. And then the camera pans round. You just see their eyes narrow. And then we get translated. But for those of you that recall when Alice was speaking, it's a similar word that you use here, growled angrily. The subtitles at the bottom come up and just say wrong, and then the camera pans down and just clicks to the from behind the figure. You see their fist clench and like their knuckles go white, and then cut to black again with the kind of fiery column in the background just fading out. And then we harsh cut all the way back to the vapour in front of Mr. Weslin's face dissipating. And he's just staring at the party. And then he says, "So how is my second favourite war hero?" He takes another draw on his Zigg. He's staring at Zora, of course.
Zora would just kind of a two-faced smock, I guess.
The only kind of smirk when you're a vest.
Yeah.
It's like Cyril smiling at Kestra.
Yeah.
Smiles and Vesk.
Yeah, smiling Vesk. Quite alright, sir. How's your business going?
You see him like chuckle, and that almost kind of choking on the vapour, kind of, like, sir, why the formalities? And he kind of like waves his hand out to the side, slightly overacting. He goes, "Come in." Kind of looks at everybody else secondarily, if you know what I mean. Like, you can clearly tell he cares about Zora from the way he does this. Takes a draw. He kind of holds the cigarette, kind of like somebody would hold like one sheet of paper as if they pulled it out of a copy machine. And he kind of like draws it up to his lips again, and then exhales slowly. He goes, "Come in," and then gestures to the big red round circular sofa thing with the fire pit in the middle. And he waves you all over to the seats. "Relax," he says to everyone. Obviously, I think I'd said that the doors were closed behind you as well, just the kind of big double doors into the room, as you had been escorted here by Associate Bradlin Button.
Mr. Button.
I think Zigg would just go up really close to the fire and just curl up in a little ball.
Well, as I said, the fire's not on. It's a fire pit, all kind of different coloured
okay,
stones.
the fire pit. I'll curl up next to the fire pit.
Next to the remaining warmth from last time.
Remaining of the Lord, like, yeah.
Okay. I think as like maybe you're the first to then scurry past the group down in, because obviously I said it was quite sunken into the floor, like the back of the sofa is level with the rest of the floor of the room. And yeah, I think maybe just we see Edgar's kind of head follow you, obviously because he wasn't necessarily expecting you. But I mean, depending on how many jobs you guys have done in the past for the Aspis Consortium, you've probably met him before. He's probably met you before. So yeah, you go down and maybe. So do you curl up on the couch, or do you go on the floor in between the couch and the fire
like
pit?
in between the fire pit and the couch.
Okay, yeah.
Sort of in like a wee corner bit.
Well, I mean, it's a circle, so good luck.
Oh, sorry, I had a square in my brain, even though I know you said even though I know you said circle.
Were you going to say
Corner
skirkle
of the
there?
circle, damn
Were you
it.
going to say
Squirkle!
Skirkle?
Squirkle!
I choose you. And other monster capturing animal cruelty games to exist.
Yes, the corner of the circle.
Right, so maybe just at the back of the circle then.
Yes.
You know, where there's steps down into this, in the middle at the front, and then at the middle at the back, there's steps out of it again, so maybe you're just at the back.
I'm on that side, yeah.
Cool. So I think Edgar's just watched you do this, and then kind of like has his hand open, his like right hand, as he's gesturing down into the seating. He's just slowly taking another drag on his e-cigarette. What's everybody else doing? Just standing put, or?
I would kind of.
Yes, no.
I guess, and sit down. I'd probably snigger at Zigg, just scurrying off. And I would just kind of say to Wesley, don't mind him, he's young.
I think Nix would then just follow the captain's suit. Place himself down next to the captain.
As would I. But I would sort of, because it's floor level, below floor level, I would sort of drop distinctly rather than sit into the chair.
Yeah, like just like slump down very quickly.
Oh, I've somehow managed to cut myself. I mean, that was IRL. Sorry, that was
Okay, okay.
Turns out the sofa was made of knives.
My favourite kind.
So yeah, so you're all sat down, and then you just see like the camera does that thing where it's shot from like the other side of the fire pit, and obviously it's got that kind of extractor above it, and it just kind of has Edgar without the head. It's just like the neck down that we see, and like the vapor of smoke kind of puff out from either side of the obscured head, and says, "So how did it go?" And then it fades out there, and then we go, "Sometime previously." And Zora, do you want to roll for drift travel? Just write drift travel, and then give me a d6 roll.
Okay. Just travel.
/r space 1d6. Okay. So type 4 days spent in drift travel, or spent in drift travel, I guess. There you go. That's how many days you have in drift to kill. Right, so we flash back to maybe just the scenes of boosting away from the station, I guess. Like phasing into drift travel and whatever animation we've decided on. The strange blue lights. And then, yeah. What happens initially? Do you guys do anything straight away? Or do you just want to cut into like maybe a day in or whatever? Like, you talk me through what happens in the 4 days.
I'd probably wet bed. Probably. I can imagine everybody's probably exhausted, so probably.
I think the first thing I do on going in would be immediately go to eat. Like, as soon as I know we're safely on board.
Mm-hmm.
I would immediately go and check on the assembly ooze. Probably spend the first couple of hours watching that and checking that the system is holding it.
Sure. I mean, that sounds like a dice roll straight away.
No, it does.
So let's get the one out of the way.
Yep.
So, monitoring with engineering, monitoring with computers, monitoring with perception.
Let me have a look.
Like, you need to tell me what type of information you're looking to gain from it, and the skill will dictate.
So I'd be checking to see whether the
Tough call.
containment field is holding up.
So
Yep.
engineering then. Yep.
And also whether there's any sign that the thing has already started consuming it.
Yeah, let's just say that's going to be interesting. So it's an engineering, and we'll see how well that goes, and then we'll maybe do a perception as well.
There you go.
Okay, now give me a perception. You can just leave it as is. Monitoring news is good enough. Yeah,
Perfect.
look at this. When did you learn to roll? Is it okay that's your bed?
Oh,
I wouldn't tell her that, but
Spacey meatball.
Well, she'll only find out if she's listened thus far in the recording. So, welcome,
So now
Olka.
I get-
What's the chance of that?
Hashtag Olka is precious. So, there you have it. Moving on. Yeah, so as you bleep and bloop on the equipment and clank and I guess other noises, yeah, I mean, containment, like you pretty much just plugged this in and bolted it down. So there was very little you kind of had to do for this except make space for it, right? So in Cargo Bay B, as it was called, is now Containment Unit A.
Cargo baby.
Because we established the Vesk would have ripped out B first because it's not the apex predator of the cargo spaces. So
It's the beta.
which I mean weirdly
Oy
makes
vey.
sense to a Vesk, but whatever.
The Chad Vesk.
Dear gods. But yeah.
You're
so-
welcome.
No, I'm not. I don't. Yeah. Anyway, so you check it over. Yeah, there's nothing really, like, I guess. Moreover, you're kind of just learning more about the construction of this thing, right? That's realistically what you're getting, because you've monitored it. The thing doesn't seem to be doing anything. It is like layers of energy fields holding the thing in. So therein lies your gateway right there.
Excellent. So it's the sort of thing that Nyx may be able to replicate.
Who's to say level 2 didn't allow such an opportunity instantaneously?
Dum dum dum.
Here we are. But yeah, you can be tinkering away on that, yeah. So that's maybe like like what you do is just make sure the liability, or one of the liabilities on the ship, is at least monitored. Cool.
How dare you?
We're gonna assume. I know. Sorry, Lyko. We're gonna assume that Emmeline is busy keeping the ship safe in drift space, and is maybe a bit paranoid about the idea of the ship having been like messed around power-wise and whatnot. So maybe she's running her own diagnostics in the. You know, she's narratively excused. You just get how it goes. What about so day 1, do you do anything else on day 1? Obviously we've got Lyko going for some food, Zora going for a lie down. We just have Alice kind of wandering around the ship awkwardly, because
I guess I would have actually probably, before I went to bed, made sure that Alice knew that she was to stay in like one spot, like one place, probably like cargo room A. Like seems like a good idea, right? But I mean, is there much in that cargo room for the break?
Well, one of the cargo holds is probably where I spent most of my time.
Probably A. I mean, it probably would have been B actually, right? B was probably the empty one that you would have spent time in, and now is full. So you have a roommate now.
So A is just filled with whatever cargo we normally carry.
And Olka's thing. Or should I say Emmeline's thing.
I once was there.
So, if I'm correct, is cargo hold A full of grain?
I mean, no. It's full of miscellaneous as required supplies.
I mean, there is actually a shit ton of grain as well. I've got a ton of grain.
A ton of grain.
I've got like a lot of grain there. I'm going to sell it to some schmuck. It's going to happen. I'm going
You're going to trade him for wood or something?
Hey, schmuck, you want some fucking grain? High quality.
You look like a guy who's really in need of some grain.
Don't tell me that Olka was also the sense of the party. Like, oh god.
Are we not at some point just going to make it into moonshine?
I mean, sure. Anyway, cargo
money,
Bay A is irrelevant right now. Because you've basically just told Alice, like, how does that go then? Like, you're all on board, you take off, you shoom away into drift space, apparently. Or shloop into drift space, whatever's easiest. And then, like, obviously, Lyko, I take it you just head straight for the mess hall?
Oh yeah, like the mess hall, right away, into the fridge, getting fired into, like, just a hunk of fairly inedible looking raw meat or something like that.
Yeah, like space food, basically. Fridge food.
But I imagine on account of his dubious undead status, he would probably eat things others would get. Not quite to the extent that Dietrich, who literally didn't have to eat and didn't quite understand what the point of it was anymore. This is a reference to a different character. For those interested, look forward to the book being published in 2084. So we, I like this idea that he would, because he's got resistances to disease and that sort of thing. Not much, but he'd be more of a risky eater, perhaps, than normal humans.
Like if it's matter, he can eat it, right?
Yeah,
almost.
He'd just shove it in his face. Like, I don't care. Still mooing, fine.
I could feel that sentiment. I'm down.
So just like limbs, just visibly still the limb of something, like not even like a leg of lamb, like just an actual leg from like a space cow.
I wonder if Zora would be the same.
Peering at it with his bare hands.
I get the feeling Vesk are probably carnivores, so
yes,
probably.
Is it the mouth that does it? I think it might be the mouth.
It's just the Vesk of them that does it, really.
Just gestures vaguely. That.
Gestures veskly. Anyway, so yeah. So you go in and start eating, maybe just like we just see it from like the inside of the fridge where you run off, and we've had like everything disperses as soon as the ship hits, drift. It's the scene of inside the fridge, and you're looking over the plate of meat, and then it just opens and we see your face pop in, and then just hand goes in, pulls out leg. Maybe in the light, people actually get a look at your skin, as well.
Yes.
In the light, and
if they did, they would see it's not entirely right looking. It's a bit more translucent.
I think that's
normal.
maybe why the dead flesh you're about to pick up is probably in a mirror darkly of the the arm picking it up in the first place, which is why it's quite a good shot for Lyko.
You'll be able to discern the veins a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
He's not, he's not in peak or something like that. So his veins aren't going to be the most prominent, because that's sort of when you would notice them most.
Maybe like the light from like
the
the
just
do you call it the fridge? The light from the fridge like blinks on, and that's when we
you'd
see that
see
shimmer of the
you'd see
red.
that little bit of the veins beneath the skin that aren't quite the color veins should be, typically speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So you would be able to tell that there's something not quite right here.
I assume he's all like derobe and such as well, in terms of taking off your armor, doffing such things.
The first off is the deepest.
Yes, indeed. And also no. So yeah, you do that. Right, so Zora, let's focus on you then. So first thing, are you taking off the armor, getting out of your spacesuit, or speaking to Alice, or?
Nah, first thing I'd do, I'd just probably approach Alice.
Okay.
Probably. Well, I mean, yes, I'd be close to Alice. Guess if we just arrived. I'll go on board.
As I said, you have like boosted into drift space by now. Like, I don't think Emily would wait around here, quite frankly. She was happy to leave.
So yeah, I'd go find Alice.
Like, Alice is kind of just walking near like as many of the group as possible, since she doesn't really know what to do.
You lost puppy dog.
Well, yeah, I mean, this isn't her ship, so. Goodbye, pen.
So yeah,
I dropped my pen. Yeah, so yeah, Alice is approached.
What do? Alice, I would appreciate it if you didn't like walk around touching everything, blowing anything up. You know what?
She has like her head cocked to the side as you say this, and you hear like the pneumatics of the armor, and she's like, "I wasn't planning on doing that. The blowing up stuff part, not necessarily the walking around or touching stuff part."
Yeah, I mean, I've seen what you can do at a computer console. Appreciate it if you would.
Like, she looks proud as you said that. Like she looks really like kind of happy and cheery again. Like, yeah, I've seen what you can do to a computer console. She looks quite cheery. Well, chuffed.
Thumbs up.
She definitely gives you a thumbs up back and smiles.
What have you done?
Right, do you want to know what actually? Right, I feel like confining her to like a containment bay of like cargo bay is mean.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, benefit of the doubt, maybe. Nah.
Like, are you just saying this out loud to her?
No, I'm thinking out loud. Sorry.
Right, so we're currently out of character. A rarity.
Yeah, a rarity of out of character.
I will punish you 1 XP for every second spent out of character. No. You go back to level 1. Horrible.
No.
Imagine.
I forgot things. Come with me, Alice. Come with me.
Am I allowed to walk and touch things?
No.
Then how will I come with you?
Well, you can walk.
Okay.
Like, just don't touch things.
Okay.
Forget who I'm speaking to. Okay.
Let me make a
Forget who
roll.
I'm speaking to. Oh no.
Just gonna make a wee roll on the side, just to see.
This seems dangerous.
I'll
This
take
seems
this with you.
extremely dangerous.
Okay, so. Okay, not bad. Right, okay, so. What do you do after you say you can walk but just don't touch things? Where do you go? Or do you stay and say more?
I start walking towards the cargo bay.
Right, so back like the way these came in, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You hear, like, as you turn to walk into the cargo bay, maybe like open the hatch and stuff, you hear like thruster noises, and then a loud clank, and ouch, and then another clank. And like you feel the plating underneath your feet shake a bit.
I would turn around swiftly.
So as you turn around, you see like Alice like having fallen over. There's a dent above her and a dent below her.
I would just kind of sigh and do you want to know what, Alice? Stand up and maybe just don't move and don't touch anything.
She stands up and she's like, "Well, I'm all for taking orders, Captain." And she kind of like nods as she says Captain. She's like, "Your orders are confusing. Also,
Just-
apparently I have jump jets."
I,
And she kind of looks and points up at the dent. She's like, "I think that was me." She looks like with her mouth all scrunched up slightly to the side of her face, like,
don't use those
Okay.
again. And
She kind of like just gives her like a thumbs up with that kind of worried face, still looking up though. She's like, "So I'll follow you." Slowly nods as if this is what I have to understand.
If you can manage to do it without denting my ship, please.
Yes. And she like nods one very like once, like, and then she like, you hear like a clank as she like moves one foot really cautiously forward, and then she relaxes a bit and then just walks after you.
Good. Thumbs up.
She thumbs up back. Just
Start
smiles.
heading towards the cargo.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably not that far away from the cargo bay. The cargo bay leads, say, the back of the ship's the cargo bay, then in front of that was the ramps outside. In front of that was like the kind of hidden compartment underneath, which was the smuggler's compartment. It's a bit wrecked. And above that is probably the cockpit above and forward, and then maybe like somewhere else above this all, maybe is all the crew stuff. Who knows? As I said, we'll need a layout at some point for the ship. But yeah. I imagine the cargo bay A is probably at the back into, if you're staring at the front of the ship, like from the front down the way, it's at the back left, and cargo bay B, which is now the containment room, is at the back right, both with ramps leading out of them. Probably.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah,
Again.
so yeah, he's there in the cargo bay, yeah.
Okay.
She then, like, as she walks in, she's like, "Do you want me to close the door, or..." And Kyle looks that awkward, half-posed.
No. I mean, I'll get it in the way out. Could you just stay here and don't touch anything?
She looks at you,
No jump jets.
and like her eyebrow raises, and like her suit does all the pneumatic noise as she leans back slightly. She's like, "This isn't one of these 'you stay here, I'll be right back' flushed into space conversations, is it, Captain?"
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Whew.
Well, not
And then
like
does
that.
a really over-exaggerated, like wiping sweat off her forehead motion.
Trust me, when I say I do something, I'll do it.
Good. Slowly nods and gives you like a thumbs up and a big smile. "I can wait
Thumbs up.
here." And she looks around.
No touching anything.
Sure.
I'm gonna
Still
go
looking
sleep
around.
because I've got to go sleep. Do you sleep?
I have a sleep mode.
May want to do that.
I don't think so. She shakes her head.
Okay. Okay, you do you. I'm gonna go sleep.
And she just like nods and like kind of waves at you.
Get a thumbs up.
She thumbs up.
Walk away. Close the door.
And I think that what we see is just like the door close and like the cargo bay maybe being a bit darker, into the light from the corridor, and you've got that kind of purpley orange light from the faceplate, and then she kind of just like does that thing where she raises her hands from her sides a little and then just lets them fall to her sides again. She looks around and goes, "Oh well," and just looks from side to side, and it cuts from there to whoever's next. So is that the end of day one then, or are we doing more in day one?
I don't know if anybody else.
Yeah, sufficient for my day one.
Yeah, I was gonna say you've probably spent the entire day like
I'd
tinkering.
drag
with-
myself to bed. I'd probably fall asleep at a table in the mess hall. And
Yeah,
then
like,
wake up and drag myself to bed.
I'd say there's probably that very generic kind of like, you know, there's like a picnic bench style, you know, the square or the big rectangle with maybe all the corners are smoothed over, and like you've got the bench seating at either side of it as well, and maybe you've just KO'd like half over a bowl of something or like your plate of meat.
Riley wakes up and he's like face literally in the meat, like still bitten in to
Yeah.
a largely ripped apart leg that's mostly down to the bone now. Sort of just wakes up drilling onto a piece of.
Maybe like your suit, like
That's the sentence, guys.
maybe like your exosuit stuff that you're wearing, like your space armor was like down at your waist, you know, like half like overall style, half off your top,
Yeah.
but just hang off your waist. So you've got like what looks like half of you collapsed backwards because of your suit, but or you actually collapsed forwards on the bench. Yeah, I like
He
that.
sort of wakes up with a start, sort of, eh? Something in my mouth. What? Collects himself, looks down at the largely destroyed bit of meat, the messy half-eaten meal, the state of disarray of his exosuit, and just said, I'm such a fucking mess. Shakes his head at himself in disgust, and then trudges off to bed.
Excellent. Yeah, and I think unless maybe it just does that. Obviously, we've had the Lyko heading straight for the fridge, talking like the scene of Alice and Zora chatting away, and then maybe it ends with like the glow of the console lighting up Nyx's face, and you've got the two green piercing LEDs as he's tapping away on the computer and just pouring through data that's coming from the containment field and tinkering away. And maybe like obviously this is maybe where your workbench has been.
Yep.
Because you don't have a lab yet, do you? Use on the ship like a workstation, or do you use?
Not yet.
So maybe this is just like your makeshift workspace. Because again, Cargo Bay B was never prioritized by the Vesk, so everything was always crammed in A. So you've probably got a bit of space left, just to cram in maybe you've moved all your extra junk from your room as well and brought it in here because you're probably going to spend more time here than. So maybe we fade out on you tinkering away with the light on your screen, and then maybe the camera kind of pans up and down, and it shows like the top-down view of you, and then the line of the containment field, and then inside just the kind of bluish silvery cube just shimmering away against the field that's holding it. And then we cut there. Right. Okay. So what else do you want to discuss on your way? Because you've got 3 more days of playtime, I guess.
Well, I feel like Zora at some point would have called the crew together. And,
Right, okay, well, like, every day can have the equivalent of, like, their full rest, whatever that does for you guys. And then, yeah, like, maybe you head to the cockpit when you get up, and, yeah, what do you do? What do you say over the comms? The ship-wide tannoid?
do we have a mess hall? Like
Literally,
a
yes,
canteen?
everything that we just
Yep.
described
Yes.
for Lyko.
Okay, we do have a mess hall. Okay, right. We have like a proper mess hall then, right?
Like, did you just not hear any of what me and Lyko
I
just
did,
spoke?
but I don't know, I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking, like, is it a small...
It is small, it's literally like,
kitchen,
like university accommodation style kitchen.
Right, okay, right, cool. Right, sound. So, yeah.
Hashtag landlords do better. So,
I'll probably just call, just say, can the crew meet me at the mess hall?
your personal comm has a message, like an incoming request.
Oh, okay. I'll check this out.
So, like, you activate that and you just hear Alice going, do I count as crew?
Yeah. Yes. Don't break anything.
Okay. Where is the mess hall?
I'll go get Alice after I call.
So just leave
Just
her
wait
hanging then?
there.
Okay.
I'll come and get you.
And then maybe the camera cuts to her in the dark with the purple orange faceplate, and she goes, "Okay," and it cuts.
Yeah, I'll go get her.
Cool. So the comms, let's say the comms maybe wake you up then, Lyko, or are you up already?
I think he's had interrupted sleep, so the comms will wake him.
Yeah, because what would be running through your head, right, for that sleep? That'd be interesting. Given the cluster of fuck that happens in there.
I think he takes a few minutes before he comes through, though, because he has to sort of make himself look alive, as it were.
Look alive, boys. What about Nix? Did Nix get much sleep?
Probably the bare minimum to be functioning. He's probably stayed up to most of the night tinkering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can imagine so. Yeah, I imagine Emily maybe didn't get a lot of sleep, given that I think she'd just want to get home, right? Or away from not home. Given that the ship is home. Yeah, okay. So yeah, these are all Tannoid. We see maybe it's that kind of oh god, it's a Monday again feeling from Lyko as he gets off his bed or his bunk, gets himself ready and looks at himself in the mirror. He does that thing where closes the bathroom mirror thing, looks at himself and just goes, oh. Pulls down one cheek to stretch his eyelid a bit. Then we cut to Nix, who maybe just blinks his LEDs on, and this is you waking up, and maybe you have the exact same where you close the bathroom mirror, look at itself, and then pull down your cheek a bit and blink your LED green light just for that symmetry. And then Zora, you're in you head down to get Alice. You don't need to RP that part, you can just have escorted her to the mess hall, and you probably are both there first. Emlyn will be there or not be there as is required.
Okay. I would probably start grabbing more than usual, a more than normal sized breakfast.
Yeah.
Which is kind of customary. I just can't always eat a big breakfast.
Cool. The other
Gorge. Gorge in the morning.
And then used to arrive as well. Maybe you arrive at the same time and have that awkward who goes first through the door moment, but you know it's going to be Nix because then the door will open.
That sounds
just weighted doors to go for
really, really weary.
I like the idea that maybe as you are walking forward, maybe you do go slightly first, realise the door isn't going to open, so you then gentlemanly offer it to Nix to go through, and then follow through. I quite like that scene.
We'll probably follow through without hesitation, because this probably happens a lot.
Probably. So you just head in. So Zora, you've got your crew.
Cool. So I guess we should discuss what happened on the station.
Alice waves to you two as you sit down.
So what went down on your end while I was breaking doors and smashing windows?
I would just sort of flash a smile at Alice as she did that, but point to Nix and immediately say, he did something. I don't.
Unfortunately, I was not able to do something. If I'd been able to do something, then perhaps the crew would have been saved.
See, Alice she was smiling as Lyko had obviously smiled at her, but then as you've mentioned it, she looks sad, as you've mentioned about the crew.
There was a creature on board, Captain. Whatever it was likely responsible for the demise of the entire crew.
A creature?
We came across a crystalline structure that the plasmoids were drawn towards. We were unable to stop it from acquiring the plasmoids, and it's hatched, I suppose you would say.
This entire time, Alice is just slowly nodding, in agreement.
And It's clearly a creature of some power and some age. Alice informs me it was speaking in a language that predates the Oxian.
She then kind of like puts her hand up awkwardly and kind of waits.
I offer Alice the floor.
Also, she kind of leads in with, I have translated more of that. I had a lot of free time in the cargo hold. She kind of like thumbs over her shoulder at the wrong direction. So, carry on. And kind of like points back at you.
Please, offer your translation, Alice.
Yes.
She like
please do.
she looks at everything and kind of like eye rolls at herself and up to the ceiling and goes, well, it's not perfect, but I gave you guys the cliff notes of the conversation in case we all got killed. And kind of like screws up her face a little as if, can she be killed? Can she not be killed? Will she die? So she kind of like screws up her face for a brief second and kind of like shakes her head a little bit. You hear like the pistons working overtime as she shakes her head. And then she goes, so. And then she kind of looks up at you, Nix, like more so with her eyes and the faceplate than the whole suit. And as if you can see her that she's starting to settle in the body language of this thing. She looks up at you and she goes, remember when I said it asked when? And then I said it was 317 AG. And then it said wrong. And she kind of like waits for you to reply.
Yes.
Well, it so happens that I and it and I, she moves her hand between yourself and herself, we said more. It's a very detailed, complex structure, and she like puts her hands like in strange box shapes as if trying to build something, and she goes, it's old, and she just nods like really firmly, and she goes, it asked when it thought it was, or at least I feel like that's the kind of what the gist of it was trying to say was, when am I and where? And obviously I said 318 AG, but I also gave it the coordinates and like location and diaspora, and you know, and it's kind of like lists off a bunch of random space coordinates, which aren't a million miles away from the coordinates you guys were given for the drift jump. And MD that would actually have known those, possibly only really Zora and Emblem maybe. And she then kind of like looks kind of like type face where she's screwed up and her brows all furrowed, and she's like, the creature, it's old. And she like, as if nodding to herself, like she's already said that, but she's confirming to herself it's definitely old. And it's, I think we woke it up. It didn't seem to know what the gap was. It seemed very confused and agitated. Its entire like sentence structure altered when I mentioned AG and explained the gap. I also asked it its name, and I got, well, and she goes, the audio file didn't save, but I remember what it sounded like, so I tried to rebuild it. And then she kind of like puts her hand out into the middle of the table, and then there's like a kind of, almost like a kind of oscilloscope type projection that comes up, and then she kind of looks at you, Zora, and she goes, may I?
What's going on, nod?
And then like you see like the audio as if it's playing an audio file like start to play, and you just hear this most guttural voice that says Urgalas, like that. And then she kind of goes, so it's got a strange name, and she closes her hand and the hologram disappears. She kind of like nods. She goes, so I ran that through everything I know, which is limited, and I don't know. I don't recognize the name. She kind of shrugs. And then like leans back and puts her hands on her hips at the table and just kind of looks quite proud.
I suppose we can research more of that when we return to Absalom and get access to the infosphere.
That sounds great, and she looks quite excited at that.
I
Gives you a
would
thumbs
like
up.
to add during the encounter you had with the I don't quite know what I'd call it, cocoon thing, chrysalis,
Like you see Alice lean in and go,
whatever it
the
was.
thing.
Yeah.
And she actually
When
stops
I
you and goes, it's
was-
actually called Project Aurora, and she kind of shrugs that off as well.
Anyway, but when I was heading towards the release, I emerged from the top of the thing column, and as I was taking my final few strides up the ladder, swiftly, of course, I saw something standing at the top. Briefly. And then it was gone. I saw a face previously, and I believe it was the same creature. Whatever the case, the face I saw was quite clearly an Elibrian.
Alice cocks her head to the side, like kind of really inquisitively, but doesn't say anything.
I noticed that, I suppose. Native of Eox.
And she leans in and goes, a long time ago.
Well, there are still some.
You wouldn't know that.
Don't I?
No.
No, I don't know that. Retcon that!
Nope. It's also just not a thing, like it's... The book does list that there is like one tiny colony of them, but as to... they're quite well guarded. So it's not necessarily something that an everyday person would know. Even somebody like with... Like you were talking, you'd need to have been Eoxian to know that. Just as a meta piece of knowledge for everyone.
Okay.
So yeah,
Sounds
Elibrians, basically everybody knows that Elibrians were a thing, and aren't anymore. They're all undead weird people now.
Yeah, well, I'm familiar with their undead existence anyway.
Yeah.
So, that being the case, I would probably... Let's retcon that statement into... well, they're around in a sense. Maybe like scratching his head a little bit, trying to think of the way to put it. They're...
And Alice kind of leans in and goes, like you?
That's not accurate. I'm quite different.
They are powerful necromantic beings, I believe. Refer
Well,
to
not all
themselves
of
as
them.
the Bone Sages.
I didn't meet any of those.
Not many people do, to be honest. They generally keep to themselves, and if you meet them, you probably don't want to be meeting them. You know?
Ones that I met were... Well, the entities I would meet in Aox would just have been their sort of lowly dead type, right?
Yeah, like the people that serve the
Yeah.
cultural attaché element
So,
of Eox. Yeah.
That being said, I would just... the ones I met were just dead. Not like me. They were visibly decayed. You know, eyes and noses long gone. That sort of thing.
See, like Alice has scrunched up her nose on her holographic display, as if, like, in distaste. Because she's obviously picturing it.
It's not a world that I much cared for.
It's certainly an acquired taste. Neither... Well, in any eventuality, Captain, that is about the gist of what we experienced.
Well, on my side, pretty much sure you've seen pretty much everything that I got up to while these were gone.
Oh yes, the wormhole.
Alice
As for
laughs.
the Librarians business, I guess we can maybe find more when we get on the Absalom station, but for now, doesn't even matter.
Alice leads in.
It's
Yes,
just-
this infosphere. I'm curious about that. Kind of looks quite excited.
Don't worry, you'll become quite acquainted with it, Alice.
She like
So-
smiles and like finger guns across the table at you.
I smile awkwardly back.
Just like flatly smile. Almost looks like a grimace.
So, with the crew all dead,
She stops
What?
and like she like leans back again and kind of tries to look not part of the conversation for a bit when you say that again.
what are we going to tell Wesland?
If I had to guess, nothing he doesn't already know.
You mentioned him before. Alice chimes in, but like in a very kind of flat tone, not her usual slightly cheery tone. And it's like slightly more like, again as I said, flat. And she goes, "Who is this Edgar Wesland?" And she looks straight at you, Lyko. Since I think it was you that asked her if the name Edgar Wesland means anything to her.
Well, he's a point of contact for us. We don't work directly with Aspis. We work through him. I don't suppose many people do officially work directly with or for them. For the sake of plausible deniability.
She like narrows her eyes and kind of nods in agreement, like secretive style.
Fantastic. Our job that took us out to Baskerville was, well, not necessarily given us by him, but brought to us by him. Where exactly the orders come from is unclear.
So he's like your boss, and kind of like turns to Zora.
I would eye roll in a manner of speaking.
They scream, obviously.
Well, he's our boss, I point to Zora, in a sense. But we do take work from him.
Okay. Charlotte nods. So yeah, do we fade out there and move on to another day in our conversation, or is there more to be said about the situations?
I would actually probably continue
Yeah,
a
go
bit,
for it.
because my
Yeah.
thought as a matter was sort
Not
of like,
really discussed that
Mhm.
actual situation at all.
we can't assume. Well, I said probably nothing he doesn't already know. We can assume he had no idea what was going on at that station. So, did he send us aware that something was amiss for who knows what reason? But maybe information is not going in and out, so he sends us to find out what's happening. The ooze could have been a convenient convenient, sorry.
He's going all ooze on us!
The ooze could have been a convenient excuse to send us. I mean, why did it need to be us delivering that? Probably they could have found some other way, so maybe they send us with this thing to give us a reason to be there. We go, everything is alright, and there's some minor issue causing a communications breakdown. Then we deliver the item, we show that they've taken receipt of it, we come back, and they know, everything is maybe not peachy, but the station is still online. Or, alternatively, what actually happens. We go there. The station is just gone to shit.
Hey! And Alice takes like personal offense at that.
Sorry, but you know, we either make it back and report this, or we don't make it back. In which case, that's a pretty clear sign something's amiss. I think we may have been the. There's an old phrase. I don't quite understand it, but I think the gist of it expresses quite clearly what we were. The dog in the coal mine?
And like, Alice like just nods kind of absently.
I don't know why you would put a dog in a... Anyway, the joke here is that canary is derived from dog. Anyway,
No, I got it.
for the audience at home. Anyway, the idea...
Interesting historical fact: the Canary Islands were named after their canine population.
Interesting.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so we have like yeah, so you maybe you'll briefly explain that. Yeah, so the idea was you send something down before you. It doesn't have to be a dog, probably, but maybe we were that dog. We were sent there so that if there was something deeply amiss, they would have a heads up. Maybe they would just abandon it. They didn't seem to have much visible tie to the station, so maybe they...
Alice puts her hands up again.
Nice.
Just kind of sits
I would
quietly.
look quizzically at her.
Didn't we also just abandon it?
Oh,
Needs must. Alice. Needs must.
So
it's
our
not our station.
and she like nods. She goes,
It's not
so
our station.
our needs are greater than others. And she looks at
That's-
everyone.
I mean, some people would dispute that. Right? Probably.
At that stage, there was nothing else that could be done to help them, unfortunately, Alice.
So if we can't see a solution to our problem, we do what's right for us. She kind of look again. She's like, you can see that she's not looking at anyone. She's now looking at the middle of the table, as if she's trying to work it out.
Actually, that's that's pretty good. I like that.
Okay. She starts nodding, and then she looks
We
up at
tried,
Zora and
Alice.
looks for an answer. So what does Zora say back? If anything.
The safety of the crew comes first in my eyes. But in that instance, there was nothing else that could be done anyway. So,
So the safety of the crew is most important.
yes. In my eyes, but I'm the captain.
Okay.
Needs to do what
You see like her like she like
Best.
tightens her lip holographically, and then like leans back a bit and sits upright and goes, puts like her hand on the table with like a fist and goes, okay, and he slowly nods. I have another question. She just stares and waits to see who answers.
yes.
What about me?
It would seem, for the time being at least, who knows what. Well, you might not decide to continue in this path yourself, but seem to be one of us for now.
You can see her like, you see like her face like from that kind of serious faceplate mode. You see like this side of her cheek go to a smile, but she dismisses it quickly, as if it wasn't within her full control to not stop her, like to stop herself smiling. Just when you were saying that, you know, she's one of you. So you can see that smirk that she quickly gets rid of because she's kind of waiting to hear the consensus.
Captain?
Alice,
Sorry.
Well, we can't exactly have a baby in a purple suit walking about, can we? So,
Alice, what do you want to do?
And her eyes kind of go a bit wider. She goes, "That's a big question," and just nods at you.
Yeah.
It's one that we all struggle with at times. But it occurs to me that it wouldn't be right to tell
She
Westland
cuts you
about
off. She
your-
literally cuts you off and goes, "I know. I want to live."
Well,
She just like smiles quite proudly.
that's certainly a good start.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
ending.
It's...
And smiles again and nods.
Well, you will need to figure out a way to fill that living time.
Yes. She like says that as if she's just realised that.
In any case, it strikes me that it would not be right for us to tell Westland about your existence without your permission. So that is up to you, I believe.
Mm,
You can
yeah.
She kind of squares up her face and she's like, "I disagree." And she like, as if she's looking to see if she believes what she's just said, and she kind of stares at the ceiling, and she's like, "I was part of your mission for the delivery. I'll be signing off on the delivery.
She's not wrong.
I am part of that." And she kind of nods slowly and doesn't really finish the sentence. Then she kind of turns to Zora and goes, "I would like purpose." And she kind of like looks around at like Nyx really quickly and then kind of looks back at Zora. Goes, "I'm aware of the tension my presence causes." And then she kind of like, the audience would see her glance in the direction of the cockpit, but you don't necessarily. And maybe it clicks very harshly to Emmeline probably swearing in the cockpit, and then it clicks back to, even though she's maybe in this room, who knows. Like if she's in this room, Alice glances to her when she says that, you know. If not, she glances to the direction of the cockpit, and after she's aware of the tension her presence causes. "But if I could be useful, I would like to stay. But I would like to be able to not stay if I like to." And kind of like just nods and looks at Zora quite excitedly.
So jovial.
Oh, she's young.
Yes, she is. She is. I can't exactly tell Westland about you anyway, because it would just show what complicity.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We could tell him something. We'll have to
We could
explain.
tell him that we met her. We don't need to tell him that.
As you're talking about this, she's already staring at her hands that are projecting the timeline from earlier when she was explaining how she'd detected you guys on the ship previously, or the station I should say. So she's kind of lost looking at this, like fast forwarding it and rewinding it and fast forwarding and rewinding it as a projection.
He needs to know that someone was there and that that person was able to sign off. Now,
I would nod in agreement.
what we need to tell him, that's
when she interrupts you again there, Lyko. And she's like looking at her hands and looks up at you and she goes, "Is that how the records don't make sense? Can you teach me how to get ahead of myself?" And then looks like dead serious at you.
She's confused by your turn of phrase, Lyko.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. It doesn't mean literally what it sounds like it means. That's
But then
languages.
But then how? And she raises her two hands as if, "Look at this," and it's obviously the same projected timeline of before.
Oh, well, that wasn't something we did so much as something that happened to us.
And she kind of holds it kind of closer, almost preciously, and goes, "Oh, okay." And then like it just like vanishes. The orangey hologram light disappears. She kind of like just awkwardly sets her hand back on the table as if she doesn't know what to do with her hands.
We have a bit of a conundrum here because your continued existence is something which had he reason to suspect, he would most definitely be interested. But
Is that a bad
only,
thing?
Ha! We don't know.
Okay.
Am I right in saying that? I have no idea what the man actually wants.
Is that a bad thing?
So herein lies the rub. I don't know. I know that there is something more to him than meets the eye, because you don't get his job without having a little bit more going on behind the scenes, but what exactly that is, what it's for, I don't know that any of us have a particularly strong knowledge of it. We can maybe guess some of it sometimes. The Aspis Corporation, you know, likes to operate at a distance, so...
Consortium, but that's fine.
Consortium, sorry.
It's okay, I'll get along to it.
So... There's a reason they don't like to make it clear always what they're involved in. Because some of what they're involved in, well, wildly illegal would be the phrase I would use.
All I know is they're into some shady business. Pretty much been playing both sides of the war.
That being said, there are a lot of conflicting allegiances.
And Alice looks at you guys and says, kind of like draws a circle around the table as if, you know, encompassing everybody. Goes, but we are on the same side, right? Because it's the safety of the
Look at
crew
the cap.
that's most important.
I believe we are. Captain, I feel that we have a degree of responsibility for Alice.
I
I
appreciate
would
that.
nod.
She nods as well. Maybe they're both out of sync nodding though.
I would nod. As well, as long as she can no break anything.
You
I'm fine
asked
with
me
keeping her
to
around
break
for now.
things.
Well, not on the ship, Alice. Not on the ship. This is our home. You don't break up your home.
Okay.
It's,
And she kind of looks around at the room.
Well, okay, so let's say we don't tell Wesley that Alice here is up and running, as it were. Not literally running. It's more in the sense of you are in motion. In other words, you're active and alive. Well, alive? Yeah.
I think as you make the face that you probably would have made to go questioning yourself by the word choice aloud, she's done that as you've said it. So we've got that split camera of both of you screwing up your face. Yeah.
Anyway, we know we need to tell him something. So, let's nail down what we tell him. Or at least what we go in planning to tell him, because
Yeah,
what
so
he says...
Let's do that then. Let's summarise the chat, but not to obviously cut you off there, Colin, but I'm just aware of the time as well.
Yeah.
But like, if we speed up the meeting a tiny bit, obviously, Colin, feel free to finish that thought as well, but just get everybody to be prepared to weigh in with what they're willing to tell, so we can summarise this bit a bit more.
Yeah, briefly, if he says anything that makes us believe that he expects her existence, or suspects, or whatever, we might have to change gears. But my view is that we inform him there was an AI present which was able to sign off for us, and that things went catastrophically wrong, and tell him we don't know how or why, because truthfully, we don't. That's my bet.
Okay. What about next?
I agree. I believe we could tell him the entire story, aside from our involvement in placing Alice into the power armor and then taking her off of the station. None of the other details would seem concerning to tell him.
Yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, we say we got there, we dropped off the package to the AI, but due to the everything that was going on, the power failures and stuff, we got stuck on the station, so we had to go check things out, and that's how everything happened. We saw the cocoon. Yeah, basically just tell the truth, but we make up the stuff.
We're telling him about the cocoon.
Well, we've got to assume that he knows about everything on the station, or the goings on in the station. So,
And it's the only explanation for why the crew did not sign off on the delivery.
Okay. I'm down with that. My personal view is we only need to tell him the crew had become orbs of energy that then went goop. But
we don't need to tell him about the Liberian or anything.
yeah, let's...
We can just tell him about the cocoon. We don't need to tell him about any of the uber specifics.
We saw it, we tell him... Do we tell him we tried to get rid of it because we thought it was causing the problem?
And then you hear Alice just say, Urgalas. As if
Let's not
when
tell
you
them
say
we know
it.
its
I think that's its name.
We don't necessarily need to be that specific.
I agree.
Yeah, that sounds smart.
I feel like as much as we make out that we've pried, that we've not pried into this as much as possible. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't show that we've pried into this.
Yeah,
Like,
he'll anticipate us to have done a little bit of digging to try and get ourselves out of the situation. So if he asks some questions, we give him some answers. But yeah,
Alice
it's
has got her
not-
hand up this whole time as well.
way too far in too quick.
So she's just kind of sat there with her hand quietly.
we can't forget to pick up Zigg before we go see Mr. Wesland. He's been probably waiting there for quite a while.
Probably 2 weeks, like maybe. Who knows?
Yeah,
Well, by the time you get back, it'll probably been 2 weeks, but Zigg had stuff to do.
save him from himself.
Where was the meeting point again?
Just in like the gardens.
Ah, yeah, the gardens.
You wouldn't know that
Gardens.
until you got his emails, though. Remember, you still have those.
I
right?
mean, we not? I did not see he was like sending them. Like,
Yeah,
We should maybe
when you
actually
drop
let
out-
Alice-
well, I suppose we weren't there for that
when you
long, but
drop
we
out of
definitely could
drift, you'll get them.
be. Yeah, cool.
You just need to be closer. So yeah, Alice is kind of standing there with her, well, sitting there with her hand up.
Let's let her ask.
So she is just waiting for someone to acknowledge her.
Acknowledge her. I'll turn around. Us.
And she, like, her hand's still up, and she kind of like slowly puts it down, but like halfway where she's still kind of in deep thought. And she's like, so if you can be vague, you should be vague. Right? And you can see she's thinking.
In situations. In certain situations. Very
Yeah,
specific ones like this.
this is a good example of those. Yeah.
Okay. I might have more questions, but not now.
When it's with someone you don't trust.
Okay, I have another question.
Oh, no. Yes, Alice.
Do we trust each other? And then she looks around everyone.
Well, I trust my crew and I trust that you want to stay alive.
Then she kind of like just gives you a thumbs up and smiles. And maybe we should, unless you have anything specific to add, maybe we'll fade out there.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because I like the idea of leaving on that kind of, do you trust me kind of vibe. And yeah, she smiles, thumbs up. Yeah, let's take like, I don't know, like maybe just roughly like a 5-minute break here, and we'll come back
Sounds
for the
Yeah.
next part. Okay, we'll be back, guys. Goodbye.
Cool.
Bye.
Ciao for now, babes.